A deaf boy's response to Rob Delaney's CBeebies bedtime story using Makaton sign language has been shared by thousands of people online. 6-year-old Tom can be seen waving his arms with excitement as he watches comedian Rob on TV with his mum. The catastrophe star used Makaton with his son Henry, who died in January at the age of 2 after being diagnosed with a brain tumour. Well, his parents say that Tom, who has complex medical needs, was enthralled to see a story told in his language.
We showed him the TV and we were like, look, there's going to be signing, and all of a sudden his face lit up, and as soon as he saw Rob coming on and using Makaton, he just was so engaged and excited by it. I think there's a lot of children who have a lot of complex needs like Tom, who sometimes they can be sort of pigeonholed or put in a box of like, well, okay, it's probably very unlikely this person will be able to communicate, but everybody has a voice and they have the right to be able to use it.
Well, joining us now is Stephen Hall, who's Chief Executive of the Makaton charity. Stephen, what do you make of this video that's gone viral?
Oh, it's fantastic news. The work that the BBC have been doing, both with CBeebies, with Mr. Tumble, and now with Rob Delaney's video, is just fantastic. It's just spreading the message that there are different ways to communicate, and there are something like 1 million people that are using Makaton out there today as we speak to help their communication, ranging from those with learning disabilities, as we saw with Tom, but also helping young babies to acquire speech, looking at developing wider literacy skills, and even working with people with dementia. So it has a huge scope of potential.
And how established is it as a means of communication? Tell us a little bit about the history of Makaton.
Well, Makaton's been going for around 30 years. As I said, there are about 1 million people we know that are using it across the UK and, in fact, across the world, in fact. It differs from sign language in that it is a program that combines both speech and signing together with a range of symbols that support that communication. So it really sort of helps to improve the way in which we communicate. Particularly, it slows down our communication. So something probably we can all do but particularly when you're working with people with a communication challenge.
And you clearly think it's important then to see Makaton being used more widely in the media, for example.
Oh, yes, very much so. And the wider we can get Makaton used across the country, the better. We've been working with a range of organisations, from employers, in the NHS and others, as well as trying to establish communities where Makaton is used. And there's one particular example I draw upon, which is Romsey down in Hampshire, where they've created a Makaton-friendly community where the schools, the shops, the cafes have all engaged and they've all learnt Makaton. And there's some wonderful stories, and one in particular where a young man in his 30s who's had to rely on others to communicate for him was able to go into the cafe and order his own hot chocolate. What an inspiring story, and we want that to spread across the country, not just in Romsey.
And how hard is it to learn?
Oh, it's easy. It's very intuitive. A lot of the signs are the sort of signs that you and I use on a regular basis, the sort of thumbs up signs and such like. But the key to all language is about using it. So it's about making sure we make it part of everyday activity, not just something theoretical. So, but it's an easy language to use, and we're happy to train many people. We train about 100,000 people a year in different aspects of the language, and we'd like to do an awful lot more.
OK. Stephen Hall from the Makaton charity, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.